Cyient. Well, that's the next corporate on our radar. For quarter two, the company deal wins was solid. Revenue and profit also surged. Although the FY24 company is lowering the guidance to the lower end, which was 15 to around 20%. Mr. Krishna Bodanapu, the executive vice chairman as well as managing director of the company, joins us on the show. Hi, Krishna. Morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, you've lowered the guidance a little bit to the lower end. Tell us what changed so much in the past quarter, and also earlier. You were saying organically you will grow around 7%, I think so. Now, what are you factoring in organically?
So good morning, and thank you for having me on the call. The reason why we are looking at the lower end of the guidance is, as you may know, the communications sector is a big part of our business, and it roughly constitutes about 22% of our revenue. The communications sector is going through a bit of a challenge with some of the programs being pulled out and delayed and so on and so forth, just because a lot of them are very capital-intensive programs. And with the current interest rates, etc., our clients are telling us that they'd like to push out the programs a little bit. So therefore, looking at the softness in the communication sector, if you just peel our numbers, the other three sectors, which is aerospace or transportation, sustainability, and the new growth areas, all three did very well. In fact, the aerospace sector, which is one of the largest parts of our business and something that we're really known for, grew almost 20+% year on year, and all of it is organic. So we're quite confident about those sectors, but the fact that there is softness in communications, which I think is also evident just in the general technology sector, made us a bit more guarded on the guidance and being at the lower end. In terms of organic growth, we're still budgeting about the same, maybe a tad bit higher, but it'll be in the same range. We don't see any significant change in the organic business.
All right. Mr. Bodanapu, hi, good morning. Just on that aerospace, which you said has grown 20%, has done very well, has kind of offset the weakness in communications. I remember 2 quarters back when we spoke, you said that by the end of the year, you're expecting a cycle to start in that sector, which perhaps should be a bit of a super cycle. Do you see that? Is that developing now? Can you see it? And is that going to be a disproportionate driver for you from here?
So we are seeing some elements of that develop, especially around the defense elements of aerospace. We are seeing many elements of that develop. There are a set of new programs that are being awarded and kicked off and so on and so forth, with the military spend across the world actually increasing, including a number of programs that we've been working on. So we're seeing some elements of the early starts of that. The second thing that's also happening is, as you know, air travel has gone up significantly, which means that the maintenance, repair, overhaul, the sort of the aftermarket piece of aerospace is kicking in very strongly. And that's actually, that's a significant portion. That's almost 60% of our aerospace revenue. And that is picking up very strongly. And that's where we'll see continued growth till the Supercycle begins. We're hoping maybe in about another 6-12 months, we'll see further meaningful acceleration. But I just want to say the aerospace business by Q4 should be back to its absolute peak, the highest it's ever been. So the recovery has been really good for us.
Okay, that's good to hear that the aerospace business is doing quite well. But you did mention briefly that the communication vertical is going through a big challenge. And, it's a steep slide that we've seen in your telecom business. I mean, it slowed down for the second quarter in a row. And you've also seen almost a 13% year-on-year fall in your, telecom vertical. How long do you think these challenges could continue, and how long before you get back to growth here?
We believe that this quarter is the bottom of that business. Essentially, in a very simplistic manner, the work that we do is really on the CapEx and the build part of a communications network. So as you can imagine, with the current interest rates, etc., much of the build has slowed down. And again, I'll say slowed down because, as you know, again, there is fiber optics, there is 5G. There's just a lot of imperative that has to still happen in terms of what needs to be invested for the comm sector. So therefore, our customers are very confident, and that's what they're telling us, that it's a slowdown till some of their financial elements are sort of start to make sense. But we're quite confident that we've seen the bottom. Now, Q3 might not be a significant growth quarter for comms, but at least it won't slide further. And Q4, definitely, we're confident we're back in a growth trajectory.
All right, give us two more numbers then. Your margins have improved and you have been guiding for that. I think in the quarter basis, it's up by close to 40 basis points. For the second half of the year, what kind of margins are you looking at? Point number one. And point number two, order intake has been fairly impressive, right? At around 180 to 200 million. Expecting that to continue?
Yeah, absolutely. I think on order intake, let me first answer that. I think on order intake, we're focused on a lot of the right areas where there is growth. The growth is not necessarily coming in the same areas that it would have maybe a few years ago. So I think it took us a bit of time to build the capabilities, excuse me, and the credibility in these specific areas. And I'm quite confident that we're built. So a lot of the growth is coming in these new areas, such as the technology areas, in automotive, in some of the digital kind of projects, etc. So we're still quite confident that that will continue. On the first question on the second half margins, we said margins will improve 150 to 250 bips for the year, and we'll hold to that. I think there is some opportunities to invest in the certain things that we want to do in the second half. So that's why I'd say second half will not be very different than the first half.
Okay, all right. Second half won't be very different than the first half. Got it. Thanks a lot, Krishna, for joining in. Appreciate your thoughts and have a great second half and a good weekend as well. Let's take a short